Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you very much. And welcome to the season finale of Season 1 of Tulsa Little Jam. I cannot believe we made it 15 episodes. So everybody who's involved, thank you very much. For those of you who don't know, who are tuning into the show for the very first time, all the proceeds from all the events, all the swag we have, everything involving the show itself outside of the production, everything goes to support after-school music programs because they are the future, and people like this handsome legend standing next to me would not be able to have gotten. I'm so handsome, I can't stop saying handsome. You're okay. And so we couldn't do it. You know, they couldn't do it and arrive to this without that sort of those sort of props and support and everything at a very early age. I assume.
Not at all.
Not at all. So there you go. Arts is very important. So we're honored that everybody has been supporting this show and has helped get us this far. And we couldn't have done it without you. So a round of applause for you and our audience that watches as well. With that, guys, just so you know, I spent a little extra money of my own to look a little nice because some people said I was a little needing in the wardrobe department. So I'm looking a little slick, as you can see. That's just for you. I'm going to shout her out, actually. Amir Al-Jabouri, it's her fault. So there you go. So I'm really, really honored to be here, and I'm really psyched to have this legendary band. This, if you think about the sound and of the Tulsa music scene, it's hard to not have Paul Benjaman, the Paul Benjaman Band, actually enter your consciousness because they are legendary and they set like a gold standard of music in Tulsa, and they have inspired so many other bands. And somewhere there's a little dude trying very hard, shaving extra to try and get that beard working so that he can, you know, he can get to that same legendary status. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Yeah. Anyway, with that, guys, let's give it up for Paul Benjaman Band.
Thank you all so much.
This season of Tulsa Little Jam is presented by...
To me, it was like a no-brainer to have Paul Benjaman on this because, you know, it's, again, like I said at the top of the show, this is what is like the root of Tulsa music and stuff right now, and it's just super. We're honored. Sorry about that, Ken.
I think you're making me even more nervous now. That's a lot to live up to.
Oh no, that's cool. I'm gonna get up and give you a massage.
All right.
In a second for the rest of the show. By the way,
I'm just
you
playing
didn't know,
in dives. That's what I do.
you do a lot more than that. In fact, I mean, I'd love for the audience that doesn't know all that much about you, you know, and because everybody's discovering, you know, there's people out there that are going to discover you for the first time. So tell me exactly, give me the history. How did Paul Benjaman become Paul Benjaman?
I've been playing music in Tulsa for a while, and roughly right about the time I turned 30, I got a hold of, and it took me, I don't know why it took me so long, I got a hold of my first J.J. Cale record, and just had this moment that I thought, you know, and I wasn't leading bands at that time, I was playing guitar in other bands. Oh, okay. So I just decided to start a new project based on Tulsa music, the J.J. Cale, and then the Leon Russell, and yeah, started it in 2007. It's been going pretty good.
So, like I was saying, like that you inspire a whole bunch of up-and-coming bands and stuff like that. You were inspired by that Tulsa sound as well yourself.
Don't lay that on me. I can't say anything about those young punks. They sound so good. I mean, really, I can, you know, in my opinion, the amount of talent with the players and the singers and the musicians is as high as it's ever been. Yeah. There's so many up and coming, I mean, young people on the scene that are just really destroying it and keeping me going back to the practice room for sure.
Yeah, but one of the things, it's amazing for me, by the way, because I was gone for a long time, and then I come back, and when I start getting into the show, and I was asked to be a part of the show, I started going out, and then finally I was able to actually get out. I'd heard forever about the Sunday night shows with Paul Benjaman Band at the Colony. And I was like, well, first of all, I have a hard time now just going to shows that start at 10 o'clock, which, by the way, never start at 10 o'clock.
We started at 10:30. We got to where we couldn't even hack 10 o'clock. So, you know, people were on to us, and I'm like, all right, 10:30.
I discovered that, and I just do one of these in the booth. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Yeah. But then I finally checked it out, and it was just like the amount of like respect that was in that room of so many other musicians come, and you always it's not always the same lineup with you playing, right?
Right. It's usually, most of the time, it's the same rhythm section. Aaron and Patrick, who's in the show tonight, right. You know, if they're not on tour with a bigger act, you know, and they're in town and can do it, they're the main rhythm section. And then I have a different special guest every week. Right. And sometimes that's a touring musician from out of town. Sometimes it's another talented musician. Most of the time it is from around the Oklahoma area. Right. And we've been, it'll be going 8 years strong here in June 2019. Yeah, we've done that gig for 8 years. And there's no rehearsal. Yeah, no rehearsal for the special guest. They're talented enough. They just show up to the show, and we start a groove going, and they can play their thing as long as they want to over our tunes, and we kind of adjust to what they're doing and kind of match their vibe and see what we can do. And it's this communication thing between musicians, and it's kind of established this kind of camaraderie between the people that have played it, and also people that have come to support it. You know, it's kind of challenging to get somebody to show up to a gig that's like, they go, well, what's going to happen? Well, I go, well, I don't know. It's been different every week. I can't even tell you what to expect for 8 years. So, you know, but that also keeps it fresh. So,
yeah, I mean, to me, that's like the most magical sort of thing. Otherwise, it becomes, you know, any art that just becomes regurgitated and stuff like that, and just by the book, it's just not interesting anymore.
Right. And a lot of the ways I write songs with the kind of, nowadays, not so much since the first record, but after the second record, and after, much more writing songs as more of these kind of vehicles that you can take different directions with the minimalism in mind. So if somebody's sitting in on your show, they can figure it out. There's not more than 4 or 5 chords in the whole thing. So yeah.
So playing with Paul Benjaman is like a choose your own adventure series.
It kind of is. It kind of is for me myself too. Yeah.
Right. That's nice.
I just have to see who's in town. You know, who do I got? I've got my Rolodex of people I roll down. They go, well, who's in the Paul Benjaman Band? And I don't know. Well, I don't know. How much does a gig pay? Because if it pays this much, you're getting 3 guys. If it pays this much, you're getting 5 guys. You know,
he just said that, and obviously there were 3 guys. So now you told the whole world our budget. Thanks, Paul.
For music education.
There you go.
I'm a music educator myself. I've been teaching guitar lessons at Tulsa, Guitar House at Tulsa for 22 years now.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean that's
it's a passion.
And you have this incredibly. By the way, those shows, they're packed. They're chock full of fans and other musicians coming out to support that. It's very electric. I was kidding about falling asleep, by the way. But yeah, I would love to talk about that too, because you are very involved in the education side of things. So not just Guitar House and whatnot. Didn't you just play a show? You played a show at the BOK Center, right?
Oh yeah. I get approached from time to time to be a musical director for shows, and it's kind of a reputation that's gotten me really fortunately into some pretty big things. Yeah, and the one at the BOK, it was a benefit for the Native American Leonard Peltier, and it had Jamie Johnson, Chris Christopherson, Rita Coolidge, John Densmore, drummer for The Doors, was in. And then later we did it, and Steve Earle was on the bill. And and so I provide the backing band for all of these musicians, and they email us all the tunes that they want to do, and I chart out all the songs and then rehearse them with the band, and then we meet those artists day of show and run through the songs once, and then it's showtime.
That's amazing. It's amazing. That, by the way, in case you guys think that's easy, that's an incredibly difficult feat to manage.
I'm lucky enough to be in a scene where there's a pool of really good quick read players that have played with national acts and have been on Conan O'Brien and have been on CBS Today and just basically been on almost every stage around. And they're professional. They show up. They're a good time. They get it. They can handle the challenges, and and they're friendly. So.
And by the way, and you've actually you yourself also got to work with another Tulsa legend, actually, right? With Leon himself.
Actually, to be honest, I never actually worked with Leon. My neighbor was his drummer for 5 years, Brandon Holder, and then. When Leon passed, Larry Schaefer, who had run Little Wing Productions and owned Kane's Ballroom, he's not the current owner, but had owned it for quite a bit during the golden years, started to put together this show, and he heard that I was doing a little bit of musical directing and put me in task for getting all these all-stars together, people that had played with Leon, toured with Leon, and so that was a big challenge. I ended up pulling a whole bunch of all-nighters to get it done. I charted out 35 tunes. And we had about 3 rehearsals, and then we put on the show. It was a 3-hour show. But I got to play with a lot of my heroes for that show. The first one was right after Leon passed, and then we've done 4 since. And I think it'll be the 5th one that you're talking about. That's right. Right. Yeah. Okay. The one we did at Rogers High School.
Right. And then all the proceeds for that special event.
That went to the Will Rogers Memorial Fund, which funds education and different projects. It also refurbished the piano Leon had played in high school, and Leon has so many people that love him. It sold out at 1,400 seats.
It's so great.
Yeah.
It's so great.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by
on the mat setting sun. Old guitars and cars that barely run. $4 few dollars to bring you the tricks. Hold you in a trance in a couple of licks. Well, them Tulsa boys be right on time, but clean on the side. They're doing it right. They be doing it. Let the rhythm section do all the work. sing a couple of lines that the people could use. Grab Bonnie tight from this flying and loose. Well, them Tulsa boys be right on town, be clean on the side, be doing it right. They be doing it right. They be doing it right. Doing it right. They've been doing it right. Well, no one can tell you what it is. When you hear the sound, you'll be back again. When the night is through and you're feeling right, they'll be slipping away clean down the side. Them Tulsa boys be right on town, be clean on the side, they be doing it right. They be doing it right. Be doing it right. Be doing it right. They 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 be doing it right. Doing it right. Doing it right. Doing it right. They be doing it right. Thank you.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by...
Anybody have audience questions? Come on, we're working here with a legend.
Quit using that word. I'm feeling old.
No audience questions for real? Yes, I can always count on you.
Curious what your one of your, not most, but one of your favorite J.J. Cale or Leon Russell songs and why.
Oh, man. Yeah, to narrow it down. Wow. Well, so many J.J. tunes, so many great ones, so many Leon tunes.
Couldn't have asked.
Yeah, you couldn't ask a better question. Yeah, just any of them. I play so many JJs in my set. Leon, I think Manhattan Island Serenade, that one, because it's this plaintive, really dramatic, tune about just being broken down in a van and thinking about whoever he's writing the song for, who's somewhere else, and it goes straight to the heart. If you're a musician, you've lived that song, and that's the one. Even though we haven't played it in the tributes, that's one of my favorites. And then "Stranger in a Strange Land" from Leon as well. And J.J. Cale, well, there's so many. If you're ever in Oklahoma, which is still true, if you know that song, it talks about you having to move around the law at night. So, yeah, good question. Yeah, I'm sorry I was stumped on it.
Anybody, other audience questions? Yes.
I promised a question. Here it is. Obviously, you draw from a lot of other musicians, but what inspires you as a songwriter? What do you use as inspiration to write your songs?
Oh, wow. And these are one of the, that's one of the questions that if you're a songwriter, you're going to be thinking about this the whole next week, going, I answered that question totally wrong.
That's what I do after every show.
Yeah.
I did that show completely wrong.
Yeah, yeah. You know, one of my, guitar-wise and just music-wise, one of my biggest influences as far as what I try to carry on is Steve Pryor. He was a musician in Tulsa, came up through the 70s, and actually had a record deal out in L.A. in '91, and then he came back and played in Tulsa for the rest of his career and toured around. And he was a player's player. You know, and so many musicians around town, you know, if you witnessed the Steve Pryor show, it was this transcendental musical experiences. You know, he would take simple songs, you know, and blues tunes, blues rock tunes, and he would take it and just move it into this other dimension, the way only the greatest of musicians could. So that, but as far as songs, you know, it just depends on what mood I'm in, and my playlist is as far-ranging as you can imagine. As far as just recent songs I've written, I've been listening a lot to the last Nico Case album, a whole lot. One thing that surprises people a lot, since I grew up around the 80s, I have a huge 80s playlist of 80s hits.
Nice.
And it's a lot of those. Back when pop writing was kind of at what I consider its pinnacle. Yeah, where you can write, and it's my goal to try to write more and more concise tunes, you know, 3-minute miracles as it's called. So I'm working at those, and those are kind of like my guiding, my guiding arm is, that. Other than that, just anything that comes across the desk. I got some metal in my playlist. I got a lot of Jimi Hendrix, a lot of Tulsa songwriters too. Jimmy Byfield, he wrote so many great grooves with his band. Yeah, goes on and on. Just about anything you can imagine. I have a real dark alternative streak too. You know, a lot of Smiths. Yeah, Smiths. A lot of early Pumpkins, a lot of Pixies, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like an encyclopedia of music, basically.
Rico Kasich and the Cars. Yeah, we could go on forever. I think back and forth.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by
There's a little secret I've been waiting on to come round. A subtle ways feel my dreams and amber twines. It's a story so deep it must be true. Nobody knows how bad I want you. To know, 'cause it ain't no crime. If I was to steal just a little bit of your time, how bad I want you.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by...
Is there any sort of particular genre of the form that you feel you haven't tackled yet that it really fascinates you or that might frighten you? Like polka? I can totally see it.
It's what I find is with my favorite songs, what I often find is on my 300th time of listening to it, I'll come across something that I totally missed. And I'll have that conversation like, oh, this is why you're totally getting it wrong, because you missed that part, this little subtle thing that was in there and was only there for like half a second, and you only hear it if you're coming across it. It's current time. You know, it's a common like, and guitar players are the worst about this, about writing off like the blues, because the rules of the blues are so basic, and they're like, oh, dude, no, you should be on to like bigger scales and modes and learning this and things like that. But there's so much aspects of the blues that are deceptively hard, and none of those guys that are talking these encyclopedias of music can necessarily nail it like it should be, and that's because there's a lot of subtle things in the most simple song that you hear, and if you really like it, you know, that's what I'll do is I'll just put it on repeat, and I'll try to get inside it, listen to it like really obsessively 400 times to where all your friends have left you behind. They're like, dude, stop it with this song. but there's this kind of meditation that comes up that you pick up on the essence if you're really trying to learn something, and a lot of it with me is simple forms and not complex ones. Yeah,
those are the ones that really get you.
Yeah. Those are the ones.
I think it's fascinating.
Howlin' Wolf, Smokestack Lightning. It's basically a one-chord song, but I still am chasing that thing. You know, there's something in there, and if you listen to it, you're trying to grab it. You probably never will, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of chasing, guitar question, tone. You still chasing tone? You got that figured out? What's that like for you?
It's a constant thing. Yeah, and the evidence is over here. See that bright red amp that I intended to use, and I thought it was going to be awesome. And then I bring it in here, and I go, no, that's not it. So different rooms and different environments. And to be honest, really, the scene in clubs is changing. They're wanting you to turn down more and more and more and more and more and more. And that's kind of almost a difficult thing if you're doing a lot of blues rock and things like that, because there's only a certain amount of things note-wise that can be perceived in what I consider HD, which is at a pretty loud decibel level.
Right.
Like, you know, it's one of those things. It's like if you're watching like a little action scene on your phone, and it's coming out the little speaker, you know, all those explosions don't mean much, right? But you go to the theater and it's engaging you in this certain way. It's like it's this thing. And so there's so many three-dimensional things if they'll let you kind of crank the amplifier up, you know, and a lot of people will be like, oh my God, that's too loud. But there's so many things that can reach you and communicate to you in a way. There's so many things like a guitar and amplifier do. I'm constantly switching guitars, switching lineups, you know. I think I get it figured out, and then all of a sudden I'll start just totally hating what I'm doing and moving on to something else. Yeah, I brought 2 guitars for this session. I bought every pedal that I thought might work and ended up only using 1 amp and 1 pedal most of the time. So, yeah. It's
Does it happen in the moment, your decision to do some of those things?
Yeah, it usually does. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's surprising about how different rooms will change what's going on guitar-wise, you know.
Does it go from song to song too, right?
It does go from song to song for me, because I write a wide variety of songs, and that helps me in like people like the variety, but at the same time, I run into problems because I don't necessarily fit into one scene. And so a lot of times I'm passed over just because it's nobody, you know, a lot of professionals in the industry don't really know what to make of what I'm doing. They're like, well, you were doing this one thing and then you played this whole other song. It was this whole, you know, this whole other thing. But I see it all as one, you know, just American music. I see American music as just one thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I find that to be the most interesting stuff, and I think the audience definitely agrees with that.
There. Yeah.
So thank you very much, guys. we're super honored to have you here, and
Well,
I mean,
thank you.
I feel like it's the kind of show that we could do an hour-long special on. So.
I appreciate you having me on the show. You know, I'm honored to do it. I'm glad this is helping education, and I appreciate everybody coming out. And I definitely do not consider myself a legend just yet.
Well, I think that says a lot because you don't realize the importance that you play, and it, like all those kids that are going to be coming up and are going to watch this episode and stuff. It's all inspiring and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not just. It isn't just you. Don't worry. I don't think you're the only legend. I think there's so many people that help affect that in the scene. And there's so many people that are affected by it who aren't necessarily at all musicians, but that effect helps be passed on in some form or some iteration in some way because, oh, I loved this album, and so I'm going to play that for my kid. And even though maybe, you know, they didn't directly influence, that music influenced them, to, you know, you made your way and others make their way into them somehow, whether it's directly through you or because you moved somebody enough to help spread that on behalf of that music. So
I remember one time I got to meet Elvis's guitar player, Scotty Moore, and I said, man, I'm so glad to finally meet you. And you're the one that kind of got me in guitar when I was really young, listening to all those Elvis records. And he stops me and he goes, look, don't blame me. Don't blame me for any of that. I'm not.
Well, so anyway, once again, another round of applause for Paul Benjaman, guys. And we thank you guys very much for supporting this show. We're super excited. We got a whole bunch of news that's going to be coming up. We will officially be having a season 2, which will actually start taping with a very special 1-hour episode live at Mayfest. So it's going to be an exciting show, and we're hoping that's that opportunity to be in front of an even larger audience for that thing is going to help inspire more people and get the word out there more so we can keep doing something so simple as giving back to that next generation just with a song. So thank you again to Paul Benjaman, and thank you very much to all of you guys.
Awesome. Super awesome. Good time.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by